So I want to do something a little bit crazy. Back in February, some of my friends and I cosplayed as samurai versions of Codename Kids Next Door, based off of the Element 5 manga art, where he does different cartoon characters as samurais. And I did not finish mine to its fullest potential. I did number 5. Obviously, I love her. And I also helped out my friends who cosplayed number 4 and number 3. And I left mine till the very end and was con crunching it like 2 days before the con. And a lot of the details that I wanted to include in this cosplay just never got added to it. Tomorrow, I have a photo shoot for her, and I am deciding now at 4 p.m. that I'm going to try and add the details that I originally wanted. So we're going to see how this goes. So, based off of the original design and my actual cosplay, there are a few elements missing that I just want to add just so it's kind of complete. The first thing is to add the white underneath the top. I only did the floral kimono top, didn't have time to do the white, so I'm going to add that. And I also want to add the white trim to the belt. Beyond that, if I have time, I do want to incorporate some beading elements and add some tassels, maybe even some trimming or lacing around just to add a little bit extra dimension to the cosplay. And I also really need to figure out how to attach my sword, because when I wore it to Katsucon, it was a no-go. That thing kept slipping out and falling all over the place. Even though I was wrapping it with the cord, it just wasn't working. So I need to figure that out too. That probably should be honestly higher up on my list, but we'll see what we can get to. First things first is trying to make the white under kimono. So for the blue outer kimono, I did make a pattern, and my original plan was to use that pattern, but like the unorganized, organized queen that I am, I could not find it anywhere in my stash, in my pattern stash. So I basically just took the blue one that I had made originally and cut out all the pieces. I kind of just had to guess, and it actually came out a lot bigger than I had intended. I will say that bigger is always better. You can always make things smaller, but it is a lot harder to add fabric once it's been removed. So going bigger is always going to be the safest way to go. After I had all those pieces cut out, I just went ahead and sewed them all together. Okay, so the kimono is done. I have it just sitting on. It is not perfect. I don't have a serger, and this is cotton, so I had to do French seams on them, which is where you sew wrong sides together and then right sides together to encase the seam together. And took a lot longer than I anticipated. It is now 8 o'clock, which means I've been sewing this for about 4 hours, but it is done. And that means I can get to the fun stuff, which I will show you next. I probably look so sticky sweaty, but it is really hot. Right now in California, where I'm at, it's about 105 degrees, and my apartment has no insulation whatsoever, so the heat just comes right on in. So sorry if I look super sticky and gross. We're gonna move past that and talk about the obi wrap. So originally I just had this red cord, and for the ends, they were just taped off. The reference image has some red or some white. Sorry, the reference image has some white in it. So I want to incorporate that into the red. And then I have these little wooden end cap things that I found at the craft store that I'm going to paint gold and drill holes in so that I can put little tassels in them. I decided to start with the caps. I took a really teeny tiny drill bit and my Dremel and drilled holes, one hole in each cap, and then I took them out to paint, and while they were drying, I went ahead and moved on to the tassels. I took embroidery floss that I wrapped around my hand a bunch of times. I honestly do not remember how many times I did this. I just went until I thought it looked good, and then I tied off one side with a string, wrapped around it, and then cut the other end, and I added some rhinestones on top to give it a little extra something. These rhinestones were left over from my Queen of the Dam cosplay that I made literally 2 years ago, so anything I can do to use up the supplies that I have from that still is great. Once the gold paint had dried on the caps, I fed the
ends of the tassels through with a needle, tied it off, and then secured it super well with super glue. I also didn't film this, but I ended up adding some rhinestones on the caps as well. I just was really deep in adding rhinestones, I guess. And then in my late night crafting delusion, I decided super last minute that I wanted to add this gold trim around both of the cuffs and around the entire collar of the shirt. Good morning, guys. It is the next day, and that means that it is photo shoot day. I ended up working till about midnight last night, so that's about 8 hours of work. And in that time, I'm pretty happy with what I was able to get done. I wish I would have been able to do more, but that would have required me to start a little bit early. And so that's on me for not planning properly. As you guys saw, I was able to finish the white underlayer of the kimono. I added the white cord to the obi tie. I just super glued that thing right on. And then I made the tassels and did the little end caps for the obi tie just so that there's a little bit more decoration in the front, because I felt like the obi was kind of lacking. It's very plain compared to the rest of the outfit. And then I ended up adding some gold trim super last minute around the cuffs of the outer layer of the kimono, as well as the like collar area. I had literally like just enough of that gold trim. It was like chef's kiss. I maybe had like 2 inches left. It was perfection. But it is 7 a.m. I need to leave my house at 9. The photo shoot is not until 11, but I have to go through San Francisco traffic, so I want to leave just a little bit ahead of time to make sure that I get there on time. The drive is a little bit more than an hour and a half, but I'm leaving a little extra early just to be safe. And in the case that I do get there early, I can film a little bit of content before we take pictures. But anywho, I'm going to stop yapping so that I can get ready. I still need to iron out my costume, do my hair, and do my makeup before I head out. And so I'm going to get doing on that, and I will take you guys with me to the photo shoot when I'm on the way. I did all of that talking about trying to be there early, and I still managed to be late, but what can you say? That is San Francisco traffic for you. Nevertheless, I made it to Blue Heron Lake, which is where we shot. I shot with my wonderful friend Blizzard. He is the one who did my Queen of the Dam pictures as well as my Kita Fairy photos. We walked all up and down the trail that is across the river and took photos in some trees, by the waterfall, and even in front of this beautiful gazebo. There were actually quite a lot of people there, but everybody was really nice. I got a lot of compliments, and I even had a woman who wanted to take my photo and say that she's going to share with her friends. I think she was a tourist, but that's totally fine. It was really sweet, and it honestly made my day. And without further ado, let's go ahead and see some reveal clips. I am officially back in my way too hot apartment. Being out by the bay was definitely refreshing because it's so cool. Yeah, it took me about 2 hours to get home, and I'm here. Let's talk about everything that I was able to accomplish and how I feel about each piece. There isn't quite that many, but we're gonna run through it real quick. So first thing on my list was the underlayer of the kimono, the white. I'm really happy with the fabric choice. I think the off-white worked really well with it. I definitely need to fix it. Towards the end, I was getting really frustrated, and the like collar trim piece is completely crooked. Thankfully, you couldn't see it in photos. It's also a little too high up on the back of my neck. It kind of hits the back of my hairline, which I'm not a fan of. So I definitely will be fixing that in the future, but it worked fine for photos. I'm really happy with the way that the cord came out. Adding the white, I literally just glued that on. I don't even think I took footage of that. I literally just glued the white to the red, and when it's wrapped up, you can't even tell, and I'm pretty happy with that.
I love my tassels. I'm so happy I made tassels. I thought about buying tassels, but they were so expensive. And so I dabbled in trying to make them, and I'm really happy with the way they came out. And I'm really happy with the little bedazzling that I did on them. It makes me want to do more rhinestoning slash beading throughout the entire costume eventually in the future. But we'll touch on that in a little bit. And then obviously, last but not least, the thing that I decided super last minute was to add the gold trim, and I honestly love it. I was super skeptical because it sways away so much from the original design. Like that doesn't exist in the original design, but I think I'm coming into a point where that's okay and I can branch my creativity and cosplay beyond what the design gives. I'm in my too much jean era, as some might say, and I really like it. I definitely want to add beading to the trim as well, which I thought about doing last night, but cut myself off because I knew it would take too long. And waking up this morning after only 6 hours of sleep was already hard enough as it is, so I did not do that. Yeah, as far as adding on in the future, I think I want to change the strap for the hat and make it a little bit more ornate and maybe make it a little bit longer so it kind of drops lower instead of sitting right underneath my chin. I obviously want to do more beading. I want to do something more with the OB. I don't know what I want to do because I don't want it to be too over the top, but I also think the OB is a little bit boring. But that is for future Morgan to figure out. Right now, I'm really happy with the way it is. I'm super excited to get photos back. I will be posting all of the photos that I get back over on my Patreon. So if you want to check those out, feel free. If not, I will be posting a few on Instagram if you want to hop over there. But yeah, I had a great time at the photo shoot. The location was super pretty. I've shot there before, but I couldn't go far because the shoes that I wore last time were not the most comfortable. But today, with flip-flops, we were able to get to more areas of the little trail that's out there. But anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really wanted to get a crafting video out because it's just been so long since I've made one. I feel like most of my content nowadays is vlogs, which I absolutely love, but obviously crafting is my favorite part of cosplay and I want to share that with you guys. So if you guys enjoyed it, feel free to engage with this video, give it a like, comment down below. Let me know if there's any projects you want to see from me. If you want to know what upcoming projects I'll be working on, again, you can check out my Patreon, or I will be slowly releasing hints over on my other social medias as I work on stuff. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!